I mean, I don't think you can just blindly rule that out.
I'm telling you right now. By the way, I was talking, as I mentioned, I was talking to your buddy Adam Gold on Raleigh. What station is it?
99.9 The Fan.
And we were talking about, tell me what you think of this trade scenario for both teams. I'm going to have to talk about this in HQ later as well.
If the Panthers get out of 6, yes, blindly.
Okay. Next question.
No, but yeah, what's the, where are they going?
The Saints trade up from 16. So they give up 16, 49, and a 2023 second rounder to get to 6.
In the division.
Yeah, that's spicy. Scott Fitterer, by the way, the Panthers GM, a noted trade back junkie. Like, he traded back 4 times, I think, at least in his first draft last year. He wasn't responsible for losing. He did trade the 3rd round pick for CJ Henderson, but he wasn't there when they traded for Sam Darnold. So, yeah, I mean, an in-division trade seems kind of crazy. Who are the Saints coming up to get? So
the Saints are going to get an offensive lineman. They're getting Charles Cross at 6. They're not getting a quarterback. And then I have the Panthers taking – they can take a quarterback at 16, Kenny Pickett if he's there, or they can take an offensive lineman, Trevor Penning if he's there, and then they can get someone like Sam Howell perhaps at 49, or even move up a little bit to get Sam Howell at 49. And then they have a day 2 pick. They'll have a day 2 pick next year. And the math works out if you look at either Rich Hill or our buddy RJ White's their draft trade value chart. There is the interdivisional thing, but if you're the Panthers and you want to get out of there, and you don't love the quarterbacks, you may be fine with the Saints coming up to get a quarterback. And then also, in this one I had Kenny Pickett. They could take Kenny Pickett at 16, feel much better about it, and then get someone like Luke Gedeke out of Central Michigan in the middle of round 2. And I think he's going to be really good as an offensive tackle. So that was just something to spark the conversation about the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. The interdivisional thing is a little dicey just because, what if Charles Cross is an elite left tackle and the Panthers gave up the opportunity to draft him in order to move back and take Kenny Pickett?
Fair enough.
I just think from this stuff sounds kind of dumb, but it does matter. Like, from an optics standpoint, if you were the Panthers, if you're Scott Fitterer and you trade out of 6 and you end up getting Kenny Pickett later, and Charles Cross is an elite left tackle that's blocking Brian Burns stonewalling Brian Burns for the next 5 years, then it's going to be something that sticks with the fan base. It'd be a talking point. And I think that's at least something that you walk through in your head before you make that deal. But in terms of
I'm doing it.
No, but just in terms of a general approach to this, yeah, the Panthers should should be dying to get out of 6, I think. Traps, your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. I like what Ryan proposed, even though I've been on if the Saints trade up, that needs to be for a quarterback. But if you can tell me that they could still get Kenny Pickett at 16, or like Ryan mentioned, trade up later to get that 5th-year option on Sam Howell in the back part of the 1st, or maybe early 2nd, I would be down for it. We did have last year the Devontae Smith, Micah Parsons. That was a trade with the Eagles and the Cowboys that we kind of thought we would never see, especially on draft night on the clock. But we could see that again.
I don't disagree with your point at all, Traps, but let's not forget that was a trade orchestrated between 2 hated division rivals, but it was one that was designed to screw over a 3rd division rival by letting the Eagles leapfrog the Giants to get Devontae Smith. So, I mean, there is some – it's like, hey, we don't really want to trade with the Eagles, but if they are hosing the Giants –
But in this situation, they could be hosing the Falcons at 8 that could maybe be interested in an offensive tackle too.
There you go.
Could be. I mean, we don't usually see in-division trades. I mean, we all know that, but it's happened. There's some precedent for it just in last year's draft.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I'm the Panthers,
they should trade out for sure.
They should get Baker Mayfield and then draft a left tackle at 6, or trade out of 6 and get more picks. You don't have a 2nd or 3rd round pick. You don't have a great. I'm not going to call them stupid. I'm not going to rip their roster again.
Oh, I forgot they were mad at you. That's right.
I know. I replied and got.
Oh, you had to grovel. I love that.
I didn't really. I mean,
you 100% grovel.
Yeah, it's like
listen.
I'll say it. The roster's not good.
I mean, it's not a good roster.
Oh, he didn't say that. He called him a clown show, and
I was salty that I said a lot of things that were sort of kind of over the top and maybe on purpose.
Out of line, sir.
Out of line. Look. Also, I would make the argument that you can't really say. how can you say this roster could have the number 1 pick? It's like, well, this roster currently has the number 6 pick. So like, it's entirely possible. The Panthers should trade back. The Panthers should not take a quarterback at 6. I am not comfortable saying the Panthers won't take a quarterback at 6 until this Baker Mayfield deal that seems to be percolating actually happens.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there any like Scott Fitterer, Matt Rule, like infighting going on? Like we're apparently hearing with the Jaguars that like half the Jaguars front office wants Trevon Walker. Doug Peterson might want a left tackle. Some other people want Aiden Hutchinson. Like, do we know, is there any bit like Matt Rule wants to go with his guy, his former Temple recruit in Kenny Pickett? Or is it like Scott Fitterer running the show? He's going to trade back because that's what he does.
So I think this is actually
I don't know that answer.
Well, and I was texting with Prisco and Costos about this, and JB Eisenberg about this earlier. It's interesting because Fitterer is making the call on who they draft, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think Fitterer takes that job if he's going to have final say on who they pick in the draft. I mean, obviously he collaborates with Rule, but there is sort of a, this happens with organizations.
There's someone else he's got to collaborate with.
As the big boss.
Yeah.
The big boss, David Tepper. Anyway, this happens with teams that are picking in the top 10 and haven't won a lot of games often. And the Panthers have won 10 games the last 2 years. Indisputable fact. What happens
Covering yourself there.
I know. What happens is you get the GM, the coach, and the owner all have now competing interest. Matt Rule wants to win now so he doesn't get fired. David Tepper wants to win now, but he also wants to build up a roster. And Scott Fitterer will probably survive a 5-win season. Matt Rule probably will not. So Scott Fitterer is thinking, I need to get the best players on this roster in order to be prepared to compete at some point in the future with whoever my next coach may or may not be. Whereas Matt Rule's like, I got to win 8 games in 2022 or else I'm out. And so that's where you really get into trouble as an organization. This has happened with the Giants. The Jets do it like every 3 years. You see it all the time. And so I just sort of wonder what will be the driving force for how all of this plays out on draft night. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, let me put it to you this way. Let's say they take whoever your favorite quarterback is at number 6. Traps likes Malik Willis. So they take Malik Willis at 6. How many games does that team win in next year?
If they take Malik Willis at 6?
Then don't take an offensive tackle till the 4th round, pick 137.
I mean, 5?
Best case? Probably, right?
Best case. I mean, I think they could get to 8 if like everything broke right. And
I mean, by everything, you mean
everything.
The other 31 teams get hit by asteroids at the exact same time.
Right. I'm just saying. I mean, like they're
still losing 9 games.
We've seen teams, even bad teams get extremely lucky.
My point is this: that they're going to be bad next year. Maybe the year after they figure out the offensive line. Who knows? But if you're firing guys, then you're bringing in a new coach, new system. May not like the quarterback, and it's like a vicious cycle. That's why
exactly. And you have to find a coach who's like, who comes in and is like, I'm going to get the most out of Malik Willis. Like,
and I say this all the time. So let's talk about previous recent 6 overall picks. The person taking 6 of Carolina, whoever your favorite quarterback is he more likely to be like A, Justin Herbert, or B, Daniel Jones?
B.
It's not even close.
Yeah, it's not even close. All right, well, we talk about the Panthers. Yeah, I feel like we talk about the Panthers too much, but I do feel like they are sort of
they're sitting there at 6, so they're
the two linchpins for this draft. I mean, obviously you have one with the Jaguars, but I think the first 3 picks probably play out, fairly. I don't want to say obvious fashion, but I think it would be surprising if we didn't have a small pool to predict the top 3 picks. 4 with the Jets is really interesting, and then 6 with the Panthers changes everything because it's if you go quarterback. The trickle-down effect is massive, and if you trade out or go offensive line, same sort of deal. So I don't like talking about them a ton, but I think they are a pretty important piece for this draft. So let's talk about those quarterbacks.